Hello and welcome to Our Spirited Life, with spirit meaning our vital animating essence and life being our very existence. We're here to engage and inspire you with enlightening, humorous and sometimes possibly irreverent conversation around real life issues. Our experience may have gifted us a few wrinkles, but we've also gained laughter lines, wisdom, strength, humility, the ability to laugh at that which may have made us previously cry, and the desire to make a big difference to those who still struggle with life's challenges. My guests share how they've created a truly successful and spirited life and their journey to reaching this. Listen to the very end for some top tips and a fabulous music choice. I always love finding out about those. So, welcome to this week's issue, where I'm delighted to have as our guest Nici Burns, founder of Nibu Naturals, the most divine skincare. And I've taken a jolly good look about this, I tell you. A seasoned entrepreneur with a wealth of life experiences at just 52 years. When you look at Nici, you might think she's never had a care in the world, but you'd be wrong. Adversity led her to natural health, and she has made something absolutely beautiful from her challenges. Bravo, Nici, and welcome to Our Spirited Life. We're speaking online. I'm in Cheltenham. So where in the world are you?
Currently in Liverpool.
In where?
Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool. Okay. Is that where you come from? Because I detect a slight accent there.
It is. Yeah, it is.
I spent some time in Liverpool and just driving around, I was up there and I loved it. Do you love it?
Yeah, do you know what? The people are really friendly. I'm very lucky. I live on the coast. I live really close to the pine woods and to the beach. So, yeah, best of both worlds. 30 minutes from the
Yeah,
city and
fantastic.
on the coast.
Oh, yeah. So one thing we don't have in Cheltenham is the sea. Being Pisces, I quite miss that. But one of these days, my dream home would possibly be by the sea. So, Nici, you went into health and nutrition as part of your recovery from an eating disorder, learning how certain foods have anti-aging properties and certain products that you use on your skin can make you actually look old. Do you want to sort of tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so actually, it wasn't an eating disorder that led me into this. It was being diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease that back then had was capable of taking your life. So I went into fight or flight, and because I had had an eating disorder, the first thing I thought about was I was never going to take the medication because that would make you fat. And
Okay.
I decided not to take medication, and I went upon a quest to figure out how I could heal. And it was around the time that I'd actually read an article about foods for anti-aging. So when I went to the library in those days, because we didn't have Google,
So how old
I
were you when you got lupus?
I've had it all my life, but not known so I'd had the
Gosh.
symptoms all my life. I was diagnosed at 30, maybe around 34. Yeah, 34,
Can
35.
I
I
ask
was
you,
diagnosed.
Nici, before you talk about the foods and what you found out at the library, what were the symptoms? How did you, and to have it diagnosed for, not diagnosed for so long, what was that like? What were
So
the symptoms?
as a child, I suffered with aches and pains through my entire body, more so during the winter time, where
Mm,
I'd become really cold, and it wasn't cold blood, it was cold bones. So if the cold got into the bones, I had this
mm,
picture of somebody crashing on my bones with a rod, a metal rod. That was
mm,
that was the picture I associated with the pain.
yes.
I learned to live with that through the years. As a child, my mum had me to the hospital and they would say it was growing pains. Then I had
Oh,
growths in my legs I wanted to take out, but I refused to allow that to happen.
mm,
And I learned to live with the pain. It was more so through the winter time. And then fast forward into my 30s, after suffering with, I'd swell up a lot, especially if a fly, and which everybody does. And I'd gone on
Mm,
holiday, and my feet had swollen, but one stayed swollen and very, very painful for the entire
mm,
holiday, to the
mm,
point that I couldn't get a shoe on. I had to buy Crocs to put my feet into.
mm,
When I
mm,
got back, I went to the doctors and test after test. Antibiotics, because I was taking at that time.
mm.
They thought it was a spider bite, and one thing led to another, and they sent me for blood tests, and that's how they
Okay.
found out I had an autoimmune
Okay.
disease called
Okay.
lupus.
So, let's rewind a bit because you were actually a mum very young at the age of 19. And I'd love to know what challenges that presented. And did you have any support with that at all? Because obviously you had lupus at that time and aches and pains as well.
Mm. Um, that was challenging. That was challenging, not because I was a parent. I think it's because, looking back now, I was probably had a lot of inflammation in the brain, so I suffered with a lot of depression.
Oh,
And, to be 19 and pregnant was a scary time. And
mm,
I used to think back then, you can do this. I've seen on the news that 15-year-old children and 14-year-olds, give birth. If they can do it, I can do it. Not that there was
mm,
much difference in the age gap. 15 to
mm,
19,
mm,
when you're 19 is
mm,
a huge
mm.
gap. Um, and my mum was there to support me, but she was busy. She'd gone back to university and working, and
Mm,
it was quite a lonely time, because you don't have friends who are
mm.
also pregnant. You can't join
Yes, they've got a very
join.
different life. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
they were going off to Cyprus, having,
Yeah,
party
fun.
holidays.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Mm.
was difficult, and it was difficult being a young mum. It really was. But
Mm.
I think if I've worked on the healing that I've worked on all these years later,
Mm.
it wouldn't have been as challenging. But yeah, I'm not going to say it
Yeah.
was easy. It wasn't.
No,
It was
no.
very
And I don't think even if you're fit. I was actually 32 when I had my first daughter, and I was classed as a geriatric mother, which I certainly felt it when she came along. Oh
yeah,
dear. Oh, but obviously no regrets whatsoever. Best things I have is are my girls. Well, I don't have them because they've grown up and gone off now. But it's lovely
yeah.
lovely. Thank goodness for WhatsApp, because my youngest is in New
Exactly.
Zealand. But how old is your? Is it a son or a daughter now
Yeah,
that
I've
you
got two
have?
daughters. So my eldest daughter will be 33 this year.
Yes, great. Okay. So going back to the fact that with your lupus, you wouldn't go down the conventional route and take medication. That's actually very brave, I think, because it's easy to pop a pill and make yourself feel better. But the challenge with that is, of course, you're just relieving the symptoms. You're not treating the dis-ease in your body. So what did you do?
So again, I hands up will admit, the reason why I chose not to go down the pharmaceutical route was vanity. I did not want to take medication that was going to make me 4 sizes bigger than I was. And because I'd read that article about anti-aging foods, it spiked an
Mm,
interest. Then that
yeah. Yeah.
became my new obsession. So instead of my obsession being controlling food and not eating and being as thin as possible, it became
Mm,
healing and anti-aging, which kept me busy, kept me focused, and I learned a lot. And I learned
mm,
that, how I realised about the foods and the products we use in our body were causing a lot of the ailments that a lot of people have, and endocrine disruptors and hormonal disruptors,
yeah.
was because I had listened to one of the breakfast TV shows, and one of the morning TV doctors, was on and explaining about sun lotion and prickly heat. One of my symptoms was when I went into the sun, I would, by day 3, day 4, be completely covered in my arms, chest, legs, in these horrific blisters that would
Oof.
burst and
Oh,
bleed, and we
oh,
couldn't.
Nici.
Yeah, it was awful, an awful time. And he had said on the TV show, be aware of buying sun lotion for prickly heat, which is what I thought I had. There's a chemical in there that will actually aggravate and cause blisters. So
Goodness.
immediately I went to the local village to Boots to look at the sun lotion I was buying
Mm.
to help protect me to find this ingredient.
Mm.
But the shock of reading the ingredients, because I thought I'd spot this ingredient because it was super long, I couldn't
Mm.
pronounce it. It
Mm.
will stand out. But every ingredient in the bottle,
Toxic chemicals.
yeah, I couldn't understand. So
Mm.
I began to question, what am I putting on my skin that is causing this horrific pain? And I
Mm.
chose to strip as much as possible that had any type of chemical in. And it wasn't as strict back then as I am now because I was still learning, but I would
Mm.
use olive oil as a moisturizer or a cleanser and
Mm-hmm.
lard, different things to moisturize. Then I go back to conventional, and then I go back to natural, and it evolved. The learning evolved from there, and the more and more educated I became about the pharmaceutical industry and the healing industry,
Mm.
it it was quite shocking. It was quite
Mm.
shocking at how easy it can be to heal when you know, but you don't
When
know
you
what you
know,
don't know.
knowledge is power, and
Mhm.
educating ourselves gives us the opportunity to make healthier choices. In lockdown, I did a stint. I got into doing Arbonne, which is no toxic chemicals, all plant based and vegan, and it was lovely. And that was a really good time, and so I learned a lot then. So I'm really empathizing with you about looking on the back of a bottle and looking at all these awful toxic chemicals, and that there
Yeah.
now is a choice, and especially again with what you're doing. So when did you become seriously motivated to redefine clean beauty standards? And how did you set
Um,
about researching the ingredients for your products? Because they're unusual. I want to talk about one particular one later.
Okay, so fast forward many years later, and in two, 11 years ago, whatever year that was, where are we now? 2024, aren't we? So 11 years ago, I was introduced to a new healthy industry, and it was the time when the paleo diet was quite popular and the clean
Mm.
living. You know, there was a new phrase of clean living, maybe
Mm.
12 years ago now. And I stumbled across a guy in the States called Dave Asprey, a gynecologist called Dr. Sarah Gottfried, and a nutritionist called JJ Virgin. And I learned from Dave Asprey so much about uh, just lifestyle and longevity and chemicals.
Mm.
And he would promote an oil called MCT oil, which I use in coffee. And the MCT oil is derived from a coconut.
Okay.
I'm still having that bit of eating disorder. You know, you never recover from an eating disorder. Like you never recover from being an alcoholic.
Well, it's the psychological control thing,
Yeah,
isn't it? An eating disorder.
absolutely,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And it's still there. You know, I manage it, but it can
Mm.
creep in now and again and
Mm.
take me by surprise. So I'm always very
Okay.
wary and mindful that that can happen.
Okay.
But Dave has said by using this MCT oil in your coffee and in your foods, elevated your ketone levels. And when you've got elevated ketone levels, you burn fat for fuel. So my thought
Oh,
was,
okay.
maybe then if I use it all over my body, I will absorb more ketones and I will lose more weight without trying. So I began to use it to cleanse, to moisturize, and all over my body. That was very expensive. So
Yeah.
then changed to coconut oil. And in that time, I
Sorry,
decided to have a
Sorry, Nici. You changed to what oil?
coconut oil, actual
Okay.
coconut oil. So
Okay. Okay.
MCT oil doesn't have a smell. It's extracted
Right.
from the coconut without the
Yeah.
smell of coconut.
Yes.
And it's got a lot of caprylic acid in there. Coconut oil has both, I think, C6 and C8 oils,
Hmm.
but you have the
Hmm.
smell of the coconut.
Okay.
So it's a lot less expensive. So I changed there. And then I decided to train in holistic therapies,
Hmm.
became a facial acupuncturist, and I did massage and aromatherapy. And it was during that time I learned about the qualities of carrier oils and essential oils. So for me, I just wanted to know which ones were anti-aging. And I
Mm.
chose a selection of carrier oils and a selection of essential oils that I liked for me. And I began to play around and I made a serum for myself. And I did
Okay.
that for a couple of years. So just something I did every day. I'd make a body oil out of certain types of oils, no measuring, no nothing, just pour it
Mm.
in, drop the
Mm.
essential oils in, didn't care how much. For me, the more the merrier, the younger I'd look. And I that was what I did for a couple of years. And then I was at a health conference in London,
Yeah.
and the speaker wanted to speak with me about autoimmune. And he said, "You've got great skin. What do you use?" So I told him it was on my serum. And he asked where I could buy it from, where he could buy it from, sorry. And when I explained that I make it for me and it's not available, he said I should bottle this up and sell it. So my
Brilliant.
first thought was, who on earth would buy anything from me?
Oh
So he
yes,
said,
typical.
I will
Typical.
do. Yeah, imposter syndrome. And I left that day thinking, no way, not a chance in hell. My ex-husband he was a businessman and he was a very clever, very good businessman. And to me, I was just a wife. I didn't know anything. The only thing I was good for was to be a wife and a mother and a cook. And, I'm
Is that
not
part,
entrepreneurial.
obviously that's within you partly, but was that also the message you received from your other half at that time? Because that's where it was convenient for you to be, or am I doing him a
Yeah,
misservice?
so I think the message was received from a few people during my
Okay.
life. A lot of my own insecurity of
Mm.
just I've I've never felt like a normal person in life. I understand
Mm.
now I've worked on the spirituality and the energy work. I understand now why I always felt odd and I didn't fit into the world. But
It's because
it
you
was a
are
combination.
extraordinary, Nici.
Oh, thank you.
Let's damn the
Um,
naysayers. And I'm so glad you've got to where you are. Now I must be quiet and let you talk.
no, it's fine. It's fine. So yes, after a month or so, I asked a friend who was a serial entrepreneur, did she think I could do something like this? And straight away, she's yes, right. Within 2 days, she'd built me a Wix website. She had a factory in China. She ordered me bottles, labels. We came up with this name, which I mean, we've changed the name so many times. And I played house. I played at this business that actually took off. And
Mm.
I didn't have a business plan. I didn't know anything about compliance, about label compliance, about quality testing. I did not know anything. I sold these bottles of serum on Instagram
Mm.
I was a care in the world for what percentage of essential oils would be in, which was probably quite dangerous at the time. Well, they say dangerous. It's not essential
Yeah.
oil. Uh,
Mm.
so that's how the business was born, and then I learned on the go. I learned.
Yeah.
I faked it till
Amazing.
made it,
Clearly,
basically.
yeah. Clearly it was actually meant to be, because who has a friend who's got an entrepreneur and can link you up with the bottles from China
Yeah,
and all of that sort of thing? It was just meant to be.
yeah,
So Nibu Naturals then came to fruition from that basis. And
yeah,
was it only through Instagram? You had the website and Instagram, but
yeah. I
then
had the website,
yeah.
and then
Was it word of mouth, or how did you grow it to you?
yeah,
Because you've got a
so
number of awards, good awards for your products.
yeah, so
Tell us which
what
you
happened?
have.
Pardon?
Tell us which awards your products have earned.
And we've won the Mother and Baby Awards, and we've won the um what's the one? Beauty. I can't remember what other. It's an international beauty award.
Yeah.
So we were our products were tested by adjudicators from all over the world,
Mm.
and some of the big brands are in there
Mm.
also. So I
Mm.
was shocked when we won. I think we've won 9 awards in total between the two,
Just-
Mother and
In how
Baby and
many
me.
years? In how
We're
many
in our
years?
5th year. We're in
Okay.
our 5th year.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we won the awards. Like, we only applied for the awards not last year, the year before, won the
Mm.
9 in 1 year. So we were so grateful. I was so shocked.
Yeah. And that's lovely because, your lovely nature and your modesty is going to be very appealing because this is such an authentic thing that you've done. But you must have been
Yeah.
over the moon when Jodie Kidd said about your illuminating moisturizer, my skin has
Yeah.
never loved a product like it loves this.
Yeah, she's been
Fantastic.
amazing support. And again, that was a shock that she made this video for us explaining,
Yes.
because to create
Yeah.
content takes a lot of time, and she
Yeah.
was not paid for this. There was
No,
no
no.
payment
But
whatsoever.
that just
She did
proves
that. Yeah,
it proves worth and authenticity. Now you have a significant ingredient in your range called Icelandic astaxanthin. Say it, darling. You say it, please.
astaxanthin. You don't pronounce the X, so it's Icelandic astaxanthin.
Astaxanthin. Okay. What is it, and why is astaxanthin such a beneficial ingredient?
Astaxanthin is nature's most powerful antioxidant. And it was a
Okay.
supplement I had taken for many years that I'd come across because of Dave Asprey for anti-aging, and it is known to strengthen eye health. Dr. McCullough, if you're aware of him, he also calls astaxanthin the internal sunscreen, because when you take it
Wow.
internally as a supplement, it can help protect your skin against UV rays and environmental factors.
Okay.
So many of my customers, when they take our supplements, say they tan safely and they maintain a tan, and it's a beautiful tan. So
Mm.
I used to take it in a liquid form, and then one day before the business became
A
well
business.
known,
Mm.
yeah, it was the beginning of the business. I
Mm.
had this thought when I was holding the capsule: what would happen if I burst this capsule and added it to the serum? And when I did that, that's when it created this beautiful coral glow, which in our natural shade just gives you that, that pregnancy glow. You just look healthy. You don't know why,
Wow.
but you look really healthy. And then
Oh,
we've
amazing.
manipulated products with astaxanthin to create different shades. So you can use the skincare to heal and nourish your skin, but it will also cross over into makeup if you choose those shades.
Amazing. So I've never heard, and I care about my skin. I use what I can afford at the time. Um,
Yeah.
but so it's this astaxanthin is from
As-
Iceland. What exactly is it? Where does this ingredient come
Algae.
from? Oh,
So you'll find
okay.
astaxanthin at the bottom of a lake or the sea. There's different types. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a sea. Basically, it looks like a seaweed. In the
Mm.
sea, astaxanthin is eaten by fish, who are then eaten by flamingos and salmon, and that's what gives them their pink hue. It's a
Okay.
very, very pillar box red carotenoid,
Yes. Yes.
6,000 times stronger than vitamin C. I think it's 80 times stronger than vitamin E. It's so
Yeah.
potent
So
and
it's magic.
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolute
yeah,
magic.
it's nature's secret.
Yeah, so I just think this is amazing. And why do you think clean beauty is so important then, Nici?
So, firstly, health. Okay, our skin is our biggest organ, and we absorb absolutely everything. Whether it's
Mm,
a lotion that you put on, whether it's
mm,
you're walking in the streets and you've got the toxic
mm,
fumes, being in a city, we absorb everything. So,
mm,
for us to be able to detox, we need to have a clean system. And if we don't have a
mhm,
clean system because of the chemicals we add
mm,
to our skin that are
mm,
unnecessary from the likes of products and food, we
mm,
can't filter and detox. So not only is that problematic to our health and our hormonal system, our endocrine system,
mm,
it's
mm,
also very aging. If we're putting chemicals on our skin,
mm,
absolutely fine when you're younger, you don't notice anything. You're young, you're beautiful,
mm.
nothing can damage you. But we pay for it when we're older.
Well,
And
especially when in the olden days, is it some products are just the sort of waste products and then they're cleaned and bleached from car oil or, paraffin was in so
yeah,
many things. And why, who thought of that in the first place? I don't know. But thank goodness people like you are, contradicting the norm and saying this, we mustn't do this.
yeah.
So clean beauty, yes.
So for me, the more we can protect ourselves with food and using the right products, the more power we've got to protect ourselves from environmental factors that are out of our control.
Hmm.
And as I've said before, I'm not ashamed to say this, for me, it was all boiled down to vanity. Even if the autoimmune disease took hold of me, if I was going to go out, I was going out thin. I wasn't going out. I wasn't going
Yeah.
out fat.
Oh, brilliant. You see, it's about attitude as well. And, but, vanity actually is, why not make the best of yourself? I wear makeup because I think it enhances the sort of fairly blank canvas that I have. I don't use it to cover me up. I use it to enhance. And I also think
Dance.
vanity is in that respect is self-care.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
self-love. And I ran a workshop a while ago about self-love, and I asked the people there, attendees, who actually looks at themselves in a mirror and smiles. Oh no, they said, that would be arrogant to do that. And so I teach people to really look at themselves in the mirror and smile at themselves and try and pick out the things that they do like, rather than disrespect and say, I've got this and I've got that. Be positive. Self-talk is another whole nother story. So
Absolutely.
how, now you're going to have to again tell me how to pronounce this. How has your journey with ayahuasca played in a significant part in your life?
I meant to let you know how you pronounce that. It's ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Yeah.
It sounds sort of
Ayahuasca.
native Indian to me. Where does that come from?
Peru, Peru, South American
Okay.
medicinal plant.
Okay. And what is it?
So ayahuasca is a medicinal psychedelic that will take you on a journey of healing, basically. It's not for the faint-hearted, and it's not something that you would ever consider doing without doing a lot of research.
Hmm.
But ayahuasca for me was the tool that gave me the strength to go on in life. And it took many years for me to use this medicine to strip back the layers of me and go and meet myself, meet my heart, and
Oh,
accept
just
who I am.
lovely. Yes.
It's powerful. It's a journey, but
Yeah.
it's the transformational journey you could
Yeah.
choose.
And is it done with experts
Absolutely,
controlling and supporting? My elder
absolutely.
daughter is a breathwork facilitator and very, very, she's vegan. She's passionate about health and natural things and healing. And I know that she urged me to watch is it called Fantastic Fungi on Netflix?
Yes,
It's
it's a
about the
really good
mushroom,
program.
and it's psilocybin, which also is the kind of
Psilocybin.
magic part of the magic mushrooms. And that can
Yeah,
take you, when you ingest that, take you on a similar journey. And I will say here to our audience, these things are not to be taken lightly or taken without finding somebody who's well qualified and able to help you with these things.
absolutely.
So, that's a sort of a safety element. So is
Absolutely.
ayahuasca, is that a
Yes.
plant? Is that plant medicine?
It's a vine. It is. Yeah, it's a vine. The
Oh,
vine of the
fine. Okay.
jungle.
Okay. Because, I mean, know some people lick toads and do all that sort of thing, but wouldn't appeal to me.
I believe so. I don't really know too much about that, but I do believe so. I think that's more.
So, was that one of the things when you actually found yourself? Was that one of the things that gave you the confidence to begin your business and also make the decision to leave an unhealthy marriage?
Yeah, it was. So going back all those years, when I first drank ayahuasca, it was just before the business had began properly. It was in the it was here, but we'd not put it into fruition. And during that journey, I remember I was told to set an intention when went into this journey. I had no idea what it meant to set an intention. My intention was just to get through this journey alive. I would wake up the next day and be okay. But I
Yeah.
remember the very first journey was, please let this work out. And I think I remember during the journey, I kept seeing 88,000, 88,000, 88,000. I remember waking up thinking, this business might work, and I think I'm going to turn over 88,000. But for me, I'm never going to turn over 8,000, never mind 88,000.
Mm.
And I didn't understand the very first time I drank ayahuasca. I didn't know what I'd done. Which now I should have done the research beforehand, but it was a desperate crutch for me. I was desperate for someone or something to save me. And that medicine actually taught me that nobody's going to save you. We are our own saviors.
I was just going to say, the thing is, though, Nici, you made a decision, you made a choice to do something that would help you save yourself. And yes, that's
Save
what we
myself.
have to do. And, it's the choices that we make which matter. How did the decision to leave your marriage impact you at the time? Because you've been on quite a journey, as we've learned, of challenge and healing. So how did that affect you, your decision to leave?
So the decision to leave the marriage actually came as a surprise. I'd worked so much on myself in the 4 years prior to leaving, and I actually began to love who I was, and I no longer needed validation from my ex-husband. I was always desperate for him to tell me he loved me, and he was very good at not telling me the things that would make me feel happy, and physical
Oh,
contact, hugs. That I was starved of that, and
oh,
the last couple of years, I literally didn't need it or want it. But it was
mm,
quite sad that I did. I thought, I've got a nice lifestyle. I have a great life. I'm never going to feel loved. I'm never going to have a husband that's going to tell me he loves me and just hug me
mm,
every morning just because he loves me, and that's
yes,
fine. And then I
it's
went
not.
to Peru, to the jungle, and
Mm-hmm.
I did my final sitting with the medicine and had, the strongest, deepest purge I had ever had in my entire life. And the amazing shaman that I went with, um, whose book you should read actually, a book's called The Shaman in Stilettos. That's how I learned about plant medicine. She said, you have just purged up the last self-loathing you've got in your
Oh,
body, which was a
yeah.
great feeling to know. It was a traumatic journey, but it was a journey that was needed through that night, and I
Mm.
released so much. And I got
Nici, can I
home
just
and
ask you? Can I just ask
yeah,
you, when you say it was your final journey to Peru with that healing, how many trips had you done before that?
this in Peru was, I drank the medicine for the fourth and fifth time. I drank it 3 times before that. So I'd done a lot of
Okay.
traveling and a lot of
Yeah.
journeying with the medicine, and
Mm.
I'd learnt a lot.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
and this was it's the last time I've drank medicine, and at the moment I feel like that relationship is now over.
Yes.
She
It's
served
done
her
its work
purpose, and
for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Who
Yeah.
knows? I may revisit the jungle again in the future. I don't know. At the moment, I don't feel like I need it.
Okay.
Um,
So
I'm
you've
grateful for the lesson.
taken, yes, yeah, it's very brave actually to do something like that. What are the courses you take now, and how has your journey led you to become a theta healer this year? And what is theta healing?
Okay, so as part of my healing journey last year, yeah, I spent most of the year being homeless and ungrounded and ungrounded, but managing to ground myself easily because I have all the tools that I need now from the
Mm,
journey I have been on over the
mm,
last few years. But to lose your home, to lose everything, to not belong, I had a desperation to belong somewhere and to
mm,
someone.
mm, mm,
And I had to
mm.
learn not to have that security of a home for a long time, which was so difficult. So part of the journey, a beautiful friend of mine kept saying to me, you need to speak with Roxy. She's a theta healer. She's changed my life. But for me, I was thinking, oh, I've been to Peru. I've
Yeah.
done this
Mm,
healing. I've done that. I've done so much. I don't think anything could ever beat what I
mm,
did. But we always
mm,
need a bigger toolbox. So
mm,
I took a call with Roxy and we did a theta healing session on Zoom. And it was amazing. And I think because I've worked, I'm spiritually very open and
mm,
energetically very aware. I understood straight away what she was doing. And it's, yeah, I mean, your audience may not think this is woo woo. My, everyday school friends will think this is very woo woo. But she will take herself up into the seventh plane. So if we think of the
mhm.
planes, we've got the heart
Our
of the earth, and then
chakras.
we've
Mm.
yes, but if you think of it as in Earth, we're on the third, we're in the 3D world, the 3D, the 4D, the 5D is where if you're a Reiki
Okay.
healer, you call
So the higher
ancestors,
self.
the higher
Is it the
self,
higher
right up
self?
to
Okay.
the seventh plane. So she will take energetically herself up into the seventh plane, help guide me up to the seventh plane. And I don't know whether you're aware of Joe Dispenza's work. So
No.
Joe Dispenza is phenomenal, and he teaches you to meditate and take yourself up out of your body and become nobody, become nothing. You just become energy. And when you become energy, you can create your own reality through your energy. So with theta
Mm,
healing, you go into the seventh plane, you become nobody. And while you are there, the healer will call in the creator, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever your God
mm,
is, and
mm,
ask for guidance and ask to help heal the person she's working with, and will feel and see an energy go into my body and heal the heart or replace an emotion. So she may say,
mm,
she may ask what a problem is, and I'll maybe crying and I'm just frightened. And what are you frightened of? I'm frightened of being homeless. I'm frightened of losing a home again. Well, what's the
mm,
worst thing about being homeless? Having nowhere to live. What's the worst thing about having nowhere to
mm.
live? Feeling like I'm going to die. What's the worst thing about dying? And you think dying is the worst thing about dying. But when she digs and digs away, ultimately for me, my fear is the fear of death. And when she makes you peel away what is the worst thing about dying, actually, there's nothing bad about dying. You've just living your life with a fear of what may
Mm,
happen. So she will
mm,
then ask, can she replace the feeling of fear with a feeling of hope and joy and
mm,
happiness and
mm,
security? And she will
mm.
kind of swap that energy round through a meditative state. We'll both be in a meditative state, and
Yeah.
you just create a new story. That's how
I love
she helped
this.
me heal Gia.
Yes.
And that's how
Yes.
I became a healer, because I help a lot of women or people
Mm,
through my knowledge of my own journey. But
yes.
I thought, if I train in this, I've got more to offer my
Mm,
customers.
mm,
Because
mm,
when I
mm,
speak on podcasts like this, I speak with an open heart, and I've spoken about my,
mm,
narcissistic behavior. I spoke about eating disorders. I spoke about the body dysmorphia. The days I
mm,
wake up and look in the mirror and absolutely loathe what I see.
mm, mm.
But I
That
days I have to
part
look
of
in that mirror.
narcissism. Yeah. Sorry, darling,
Yeah,
I interrupted. That
no, it's
last bit,
just,
I interrupted.
no, I can equally look in the mirror and do mirror work and send myself love and absolutely love what I see, but I fight with the eating disorder and I fight with the body dysmorphia. So I have a
Okay.
lot of my customers who will message me and say they suffer with this, or and I can give them advice with, with love. But
Mm.
becoming a theta healer, I can offer healing that I
Something
know will
much
work.
deeper.
Yeah,
Yes. So actually, you are all the way a healing from the surface all the way through to the soul and the
to the
spirit.
soul. Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Exactly. Becoming
Wonderful.
nobody is
Wow.
the most powerful tools. When you
Mm.
become
Do you
nobody, nothing can hurt you, nothing can kill you.
I just find that it's extraordinary. I am not good at meditating. Um, I'm I'm an enthusiastic person, so I don't think I'm very good at sitting still and doing or being nothing. Just be a human being. So this is fascinating to me because I would love, and I'm sure many people. This is such a busy world, and when you're on your own as well, if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. Shopping, washing up, bin emptying, every single thing. Aside from our passion and purpose for our work. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see me ever really retiring. We'll see when I'm in 10 years' time, when I'm 76. But, even then, kind of, I think, what would I do? I want to travel. I want to travel. But when you have this passion, and for you, this is so authentic, it's so utterly beautiful as you are, Nici, obviously from the inside out. Um, so many things on this conversation I've never heard of, and I'm thanking you for bringing these to my attention and our audience's attention, because there's some powerful, powerful stuff here that is super helpful. Because unfortunately, all forms of abuse are too prevalent out there. It's not only women who suffer with this, but it is the vast majority, and there's not enough help. So we need to become a beautiful community of people who are helping. All my experiences have given me the lived experiences, and the way, just like they now have meaning, and you can go out and help people because you come through them. But also being vulnerable and sharing your story, I absolutely applaud you for that. And also, you are a 52-year-old single grandmother to 3 boys. What's that like?
I
How
am.
old are they? And what's that like?
That can be pretty surreal. My eldest grandchildren live quite far away from me, so I don't see them a lot.
Mm.
And eldest Leo, he's actually 10, and then I have a 7-year-old and a 18-month-old.
Oh,
So yeah, they're gorgeous. The
oh,
18-month-old, Mikey, he lives 15 minutes away from me, so
yeah. Oh, so you can get those
I see
lovely
him a lot.
cuddles and that smell of the
Yeah,
skin. Oh,
yeah.
I'm very with
Boys,
you there about touch. Mm?
we're saying
Say
boys
that.
like to cuddle.
Yes, yes, they do. My primary love language, have you heard of love languages? Dr. Gary Chapman's love language. My primary love language is touch.
Yeah,
And
and
that's, actually,
same.
so I don't know if the havening can be very, very healing. But I'm fascinated by these things, and I'd love to talk to you more about it. That's just amazing. Is there anything we haven't actually now spoken about? Nibu, please tell
Oh
us
yeah.
all about that, because your website's beautiful and the products look absolutely yummy, I have to say, although they're not all for eating, but it's just serene and beautiful and believable. So tell us about Nibu.
So this serum is a multifunctional serum that will heal and nourish your skin, protect the skin, but
Mm.
also transform your skin depending on what shade you choose. You can actually create a very natural makeup effect without having to put the layers and layers of makeup on.
Mm.
So
Is that
we
in
have
those little bottles behind you? Is that
yeah,
serum in the little bottles?
yeah. So we have
Let's have a look.
this is this is the deeper shade. So this will be a shade that somebody would choose
Yeah.
once they are familiar with the products, because it's if you look at
Mm.
because of the astaxanthin, I don't know whether you'll be able to see this. Can you see how dark it is?
Oh, yes, I
Red.
can. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
that will transform your skin into the beautiful bronze glow, and you would just take it down into your neck. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have used the serum ingredients, and we've added organic mica powder to it with different percentage of astaxanthin in 3
Okay.
colours. Have a
Yes.
blush to 3 different highlighters, but in a pink, bronze, and a
Mm.
gold. So you can create a makeup effect without
Mm.
actually wearing.
Mm.
You're not going to
Wow.
get full
And so
coverage.
does
Box
that,
hiding.
yes, without, yeah. Um, does that wash off at the end of the day? You know, when you cleanse, does that come off, or does it actually begin to give your skin a gradual colour?
No, this is exactly like as makeup is or any skincare. You
Yes.
cleanse it off in the day,
Yeah.
and it washes
Yes.
off.
Yeah.
To have something that would gradually tan,
Yeah.
you'd have to put a
Yeah.
chemical in at the
Without
there
having
will
that, I know some people who really dislike the feeling of a foundation. They feel clogged
yeah.
on their skin.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't need foundation, but just want something natural to give them that healthy look. Oh, I can't wait to try some of these. Nici, is there anything else you want to tell us about your business or your journey? Actually, what I'd like to ask you is about resilience. Clearly, you've had a lot of resilience, even when you felt completely down and out. Do you
Yeah.
think you've always been resilient, or do you think it's something that your challenges have made you stronger through getting somehow through those challenges? And what do you think about resilience for you and in your life?
For me, resilience is something I have built up over the years. I was not a resilient person. Well,
Mm,
I don't feel like
mm,
I was, but I think through the challenges and keeping afloat and gosh, when you think you can't get any worse and then it does. You think you can't get any worse and
mm,
it does,
mm,
but it's still here.
mm,
And every
mm,
even through the darkest times over the last years, I've found journals. I've written in journals for the last
mm,
10 years. I write in a
mm,
journal, then I find another one. And I actually found old journals and looked at what I'd written 7 years
mm,
ago. And it was
mm,
heartbreaking to see how
mm.
I was feeling 7 years
Uh,
ago. And I think to today, wow, I can still
mm.
feel like that, but I've got the tools to take myself out of the ground
Yes.
and be grateful for everything I've got. I may not have all the materialistic things that I once had, but I've got freedom. My I changed my story. Instead of, my old story, I was homeless, I lost everything. It's no, my story is I exchanged a luxury lifestyle for freedom,
Mm,
focus on me,
mm.
love for me.
I was going to say love. Yes.
Yeah, for me, which enables me to have the tools to give to others instead of
Yeah.
fighting for
Wonderful.
survival all the time.
Yeah. And it fighting for survival when actually we're put on this earth to thrive, not to go through all
Mhm.
these awful things, but it does make us stronger. But fighting is exhausting, as is fleeing. We want freedom.
Yeah.
I know people will be really keen to hear what your one top tip or your three takeaways are. So are you ready to share those with us, Nici?
Okay. So, what was that? I missed you then. The three takeaways.
Your three top tips or a main takeaway that you would just like to leave with our audience.
Okay, three top tips is be your own priority. You are the most
Mm,
important person in your life, and whether that
mm,
be you give yourself 5 minutes to enjoy a cup of coffee without doing children's breakfast or looking at emails. Give
mm.
just 5 minutes to just be present.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I, th- I believe in meditation, and I know meditation is very, very difficult. But if you can find someone you are aligned with, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who can guide you through it, you can transform your life with
Okay,
meditation and
great.
ground. kick your shoes off, get out and put your feet in the earth, breathe in and breathe up the energy of Mother Earth, and you will be safe.
Oh, I love that. Actually, if you can't get onto Mother Earth, I have a friend called White Bear, and he does very spiritual, and he does in real Indian head massage, absolutely fantastic. And he gave me a grounding thing, so I might have put that out to our audience as well.
Right?
And that's for when you
Yeah.
get out of bed, and it's a little grounding. So I love that. Thank you so much. And finally, what's your piece of chosen music, and why have you chosen it?
Okay, so there's two now. I don't know which one to choose.
You can have two. One of my
I have two.
guests, a gentleman, had three. So, because he said I wanted one for each thing, and it was wonderful why he did that. So, absolutely have to.
Okay, so my two at the moment are there's a I don't have you heard of the Hawaiian mantra Ho'oponopono?
Yes.
Okay, so the Emmett sister, Sarah Emmett, she has a song version of Ho'oponopono, and it's a consistent reminder to thank you, I'm sorry, I forgive you. What is it? I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. And it's in such beautiful lyrics. And if someone plays that in the background and then listens to the lyrics, it's so
Yeah.
easy to forgive and love
Yes.
yourself. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you by the Sarah Emmett. That's beautiful.
Okay.
And the other one
Love that.
is an artist called Isla Schaefer, and she has a song called Rose. And this song was played last year at the Medicine Festival. And my friend and I, who had really supported me through the year, neither of us spoke, we held each other's hands, and I looked at the women around, and it was about women are as strong as a rose, and about women supporting each other. The lyrics are beautiful. They make most people cry when I first play it, but it's a
Okay.
reminder of how strong we are. We are stronger than we know.
Yeah.
And if we keep
Yeah.
our community together, we can
Yeah.
grow into the biggest, beautiful, strongest rose bush ever and live a fruitful
Yes.
life.
I love that, Nici. This has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. And thank you for answering my questions so openly and honestly. Your journey is extraordinary. Huge respect for where you've been, what you do, and every award is so well deserved. And I wish you many more and the greatest of success. How do we find you, please?
You can either find me on Instagram, which is
Mm-hmm.
Nibu_naturals, or our website. If you sign up, you will receive our newsletters, which is nibunaturals.com.
Definitely will sign up for those. Thank you. And Instagram, I must get to grips with that again. Thank you, Nici, so much from the bottom of my heart. I've learned
Thank
so
you.
much on this episode, and I'm sure others will too. So get in touch with Nici, won't you? And let's build this beautiful rosebush. If you found this
Absolutely.
journey enjoyable and inspiring, please feel free to share it with your family and friends and everyone you know. And if you'd like to be a guest on Our Spirited Life, then just get in touch with me. Nici, thank you. Stay there, darling, and I'll just stop recording now. Bye, everybody. Speak again soon.